Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Everyday Carry for the Everyday Guys. So today we're going to be talking about possibly what I think is the best looking weapon mounted light on the market right now. This is the Olight PL Mini 2, and there are a lot of quite innovative features about this light. No one innovates like Olight. I just want to put that out there. But what I'm also going to do is add in a chat about the PL Mini 1. So a lot of people who have this light have contacted me and asked me whether or not they should upgrade to the PL Mini 2. Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? That sort of thing. So that's kind of the angle I'm going to look at with this video. I'm going to be talking to you about both of them, telling you what I like, what maybe I don't like, and what the differences are. So you can make a decision as to whether or not the PL Mini 2 should be your first weapon mounted light or your next weapon mounted light or your last weapon mounted light. So guys, I am going to be manipulating the firearm quite a bit in this video. I do want you to know the firearm is empty and safe. There are no rounds around. So it will remain in a safe condition throughout the video. Don't stress about that. Let's get to it. Okay guys, so I think the first thing we have to talk about with the PL Mini 2 is this top section over here, the what I call the rail section. So this is the female side of the rail section. I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. And what happens when you open up the QD clip, the quick detach clip, it allows you to slide the actual light fitting itself, the male part of this weapon mounted light, forwards and backwards, depending on the size of your firearm, depending on where you want it. Now, I'm one of the few people that I've seen so far that has actually tested this light in this condition. So this, as you see it here now, the light is on the very last rail, okay, the very last piece of this clip over here. So there's one little tooth holding it on, and obviously the pressure of the quick detach clip. I took a few shots with it, it held up well. Then I slammed it back and locked it down again, took a few more shots, it held up well. So don't stress about the light's ability to stay on the frame. As far as what I can see, no one's had a problem with that, and I don't foresee anyone having a problem. Once you lock it down, it is solid. Now, as for where you're going to run this light, so the way it looks best is sort of in this configuration right here, where it's kind of flush, maybe, in my opinion, one forward, to add that little bit of like tactical, angry look to it. But if it goes one forward, you begin to lose your ability to put that light on or off, depending on whether or not you have normal human being hands or gorilla hands. If you've got gorilla hands, you might be able to run it like this, which means the look much cooler. Where I think most people will run this guy is sort of slammed a bit back in that kind of configuration. That is just one click short of as far back as you can go, and I think that is the most similar feeling to the PL Mini 1 in terms of where you sort of depress the button. Maybe all the way back as well can work, but then you also sort of bring your finger quite far back. So I think just one click forward and you're in the most similar feeling. Now on the button press itself, the PL Mini 2's button, okay, sits lower than the PL Mini 1. The distance from here to here is more on the 2 than on the 1, as you can sort of see. So the finger travel to the 1 is much less than the finger travel to the 2. And what I find with the 1 is you don't get any, I've never gotten like a tactile feel as to when I've activated the 1. Yes, you see the light obviously, but I like lights that click. For example, the PL2 Valkyrie has a click. I like that kind of click, and I also like the direction. I like to push inwards with my finger because I find that to be a more natural movement than to push downwards. My finger generally wants to go in, obviously towards the trigger area as opposed to down. And I find that on both sides. It's much easier for me to do that than for me to do that. That's just my opinion. I know a lot of people who prefer this movement to the pressing inward movement. That's cool, I don't mind. That's just like a personal preference. But on the 2, I do find the button press, there's just the slightest bit of a click as you reach the end of the button travel, which I do like. These buttons are quite sharp though, so pressing them continuously does sort of dig into your finger, but it's kind of like it with both the PL Mini 1 and the PL Mini 2, so that kind of is what it is. And then what you do depress is like a little spongy kind of situation, and that is what gives you your on and off. So where the 2 differs from the 1 is the way you sort of put this on. You've got to press the quick detach lever inwards like that, and that opens up this little grip tooth type deal or grip arm on the other side, and then when you release it, it grips onto your rail, and you obviously then lock it down by pressing the quick detach lever downwards. The original one does not have that. It just fits over, and as you pull this, it pulls this side inwards, and that is effectively what locks it down. Size wise, as you can quite clearly see, the light bezel on the 2 is bigger than the light bezel on the 1. I do think the 2 is a better looking light in my opinion. I just think this thing looks legend. Sideways on, you can see that the 2 also sits higher. It's from top to bottom, there is more, but that's obviously to accommodate the rail. And then on the bottom, you'll actually see the 1 is a bit longer than the PL Mini 2, and that is why with that finger press on the PL Mini 1, it's nearer to your finger than it is in the PL Mini 2. That's just the reality of how it is. It can't come any further back, so you just have to accept that. So guys, let's just talk about this quickly. So when I remove or open up the quick detach clip, I can then slide this rail completely off the light itself. And as you can see, this piece here has like the teeth in it. I'll see if I need to chuck close-ups in, and those teeth go into this piece, which is why this is the female and this is the male. Slides that into there, and then you can pretty much set it to wherever you want, and once you lock it down, you are good to go. That's pretty much the main different feature, besides the 600 lumens that this has versus the 400 lumens that the PL Mini 1 has. And I also find that this light, the PL Mini 2, has a warmer light than what the 1 has, and it's got good spill, so you get a decent hot spot, but the spill around the side of this guy is also really good, so it kind of lights up a larger area. I'll chuck in some B-roll if I have to and show you what I'm talking about. So the walls in my house are white, and I mean like white. And I find the 600 lumen mark to kind of be the sweet spot for weapon mounted lights, or for lights to where even in like the middle of the night in pitch black, you can still get a good amount of light without blinding your own self. Now I know that is a bit contradictory considering I EDC the PL2, which is 1200 lumens, but I like the on-off mechanism of that light, so that's why I carry it, and it doesn't really affect me until I saw the 600 lumens of this, and I realized, wow, that is a really nice indoor light type situation that just works out really well. So for me, 600 lumens is kind of the sweet spot for these lights. For indoor use, obviously, if you're going to be using it outside, 600 lumens is more than enough, but then you can go pretty much up to however much you want, and you're not going to end up blinding yourself on like trees or the road, whatever the case may be. But for indoor use, I do quite think that 600 lumens is great. Like I said previously, looks wise, I think this is the best looking weapon mounted light on the market right now. I think it's sexy as hell. The bigger light bezel over the PL Mini 1, I think it just makes it look more tactical in massive inverted commas. It's got a more mean, more aggressive look to it, where the PL Mini 1, when you see it now compared to the PL Mini 2, you realize that light bezel is quite small and not as visually appealing as the 2. So guys, one thing I've gotten asked a lot is whether a PL Mini 2 will fit in a PL Mini 1 holster. I want to categorically confirm that it will not. So this is my last line defense holster, which goes for the Olight PL Mini 1. As you can see, that is a comfortable and perfect fit. But once I attach the PL Mini 2, and you can do this no matter how you have the light configured, even if you slide it all the way back, no matter what you do, the 2 cannot fit inside a PL Mini 1 holster. It's, well, mainly because it is longer, so the port into which the firearm goes is narrower, and so there's no way you're going to fit a PL Mini 2 into a PL Mini 1 holster. That's very important to understand, because I do get asked that question a lot. So should you go for the PL Mini 2 if you already have a PL Mini 1? Well, that 600 lumens is 600 lumens. You know, it's 200 more than the PL Mini 1. And if you are wanting more lumens for the same style of flashlight, if you're happy with the ergonomics and the size of the PL Mini 1, then yes, you should definitely go for the PL Mini 2. And those 200 lumens do make a difference. The 2 is visually and visibly brighter than the PL Mini 1. Another reason you should go for it is because it causes or incites innovation. I like people that innovate. So holster makers, if this becomes a popular light, are going to have to start building different holsters to cater for this, which means we're going to have more innovation, which means we're going to have more holsters, which for you and I as the consumer is more awesome. And then lastly, why the PL Mini 2 might be a good option going forward is because you might find yourself buying a different firearm, a subcompact, whatever the case may be, that has a rail that the PL Mini 1 won't fit. I know a lot of guys who started out with Glock 17s, then moved to Glock 19s, then gone even smaller, and they couldn't attach weapon lights because it doesn't fit that rail. The PL Mini 2 is going to give you an option to carry a weapon mounted light on pretty much any firearm with a rail at the bottom. Should you swap from the PL Mini 1 to the PL Mini 2 if you don't intend to change lights? So as I said earlier on, if you wanted 600 lumens, that's the only way you're going to get it with a light the same size or more or less the same size as the PL Mini 1 if you are a big fan of it. If you are not a first time buyer, then the differences between the two are not massive, and I don't think the price differences between the two are massive. I remember buying this for 1699 and I think this is 1799 or 17 something like that. I know it's 17-ish. I'll leave a link down to it below. So what would I carry between the PL Mini 1 and the PL Mini 2? I would definitely carry the PL Mini 2 because I like the lumen output. It's that perfect 600 lumens, which is sort of, in my opinion, the sweet spot for indoor use. I like the hotspot. I like the light spill. It's a nice, it covers a large surface area. So I would go PL Mini 2 over PL Mini 1 if I had to be standing in the shop looking at them right now. If I owned the PL Mini 1, I wouldn't necessarily go PL Mini 2 just yet, and the only reason for that is because holsters are not readily available. So if you do have a PL Mini 1 and you're like, oh, I just bought this thing and I hate my life because now the 2's come out, don't stress about it. There aren't any available holsters for this guy just yet. As soon as they are, I'm going to let you guys know. So you still have a perfectly viable option. Olight didn't burn you. They're just innovating, and yeah, don't be too sad about that because you still have what I think is the best compact weapon light on the market right now if you've got the PL Mini 1. So that is it, guys. Obviously there are other things that people do cover, like both lights are rechargeable, and some guys show you what comes in the box and that sort of deal. Maybe it's chuck and B-roll. Unboxing things are not a big deal for me, so I don't really mind or care to show what comes in the box. I'm more about the usability of the two options. So the PL Mini 2 I do think is the future. I think more guys will follow suit because what you've got here is a light that'll fit pretty much any firearm with a rail. So you're effectively cornering a massive part of the market. Very clever design from them. If you are going to buy one, just remember at this point in South Africa, holsters are not readily available yet. As soon as they are available, I will definitely let you guys know. I want to say a massive thanks again to Henry Beeman, probably one of the biggest supporters of the channel. I really appreciate his assistance, and he's the guy that makes reviews like this possible. So that's it, guys. I'll see you guys soon. Have a good week. Cheers. God bless.